Hey everybody, Mark Edward Lewis here from CinemaSound.com, and today we're representing DCG and Jamar James. We just released our first 30-day intensive course called Upres Your Life, really committed to reprogramming the instincts that are having us survive instead of live. We have 2 more of these intensive courses that we're building. The next one, all about finances, and if you're in entertainment at all, you know that you don't always get money coming your way, and being able to invest and plan for your retirement can be difficult. Well, lately we've been doing investment in cryptocurrency and working with the DCG group and Jamar. We've learned the Alligator strategy, which I want to share a little bit of it with you. Now, some of you who have done investing before, you know all about the Alligator strategy, or at least the way you can find out about it on YouTube or, Wikipedia or whatever. But the way Jamar teaches it and the DCG group uses it, very, very different and a lot more powerful. Let me show you what I'm talking about. All right, so here we're looking at what we would classify as the alligator chart. And it's not the usual alligator. You can see there's a ton more lines, all kinds of these funny color-coded lines, in addition to the candlesticks. And if you're not familiar with the candlestick, it's pretty easy. The green bars mean that it went up in a particular time frame, and the red bars mean that it went down in a particular time frame. So, for example, this is on the 12-hour chart of Bitcoin versus USDT, basically a derivative of the United States dollar. Basically, at the beginning of this 12-hour period, the price started here, or roughly about $4,100, and this is when February of 2019. And then at the end of that 12-hour period, it ended up down here. It kind of scooted down here just a little bit. You can see this area, but then it ended here. And then from there, it continued here to the next 12-hour period, then went up to this part, and then came back down. And you can see from there. So it went up, and then came down. Candlesticks have patterns, and we learn how to use them in a different part of this investment strategy. But for now, the alligator shows us trends. And why is it kind of rainbow like this? Well, I kind of changed the colors a little bit from what Jamar uses, but because I like the black background. Say that 100 times, black background. So you can see as the price goes up here, it kind of comes out of this rainbow-looking thing. And each one of these is a moving average. This one, for example, is the 7-day, in this case 12-hour moving average, and the green one is the 20, and down they go down to about the 55. So when price, that's these candlesticks, goes up and out, it tends to want to continue its momentum as long as this area down here remains high. Now this is the volume. This is how many trades went on in this 12-hour period. And you can see the green ones meant there was high, that it was positive, and the red ones mean that it went down. So a lot of people sold. This one means a lot of people bought. And you can see that this is a big, a big 12-hour period because it went all the way up and came down, but it was still positive. Here's a big one here, and it dropped. So lots of people did a lot of trading. And this little blue area we like to call the water. And sometimes we refer to this going out of the water, meaning that the volume came up and over kind of this average blue volume. Now, this is back here in February. If you know anything about Bitcoin, you know what it did come April. Now, notice that it's kind of ducked down here and kind of come up a little bit. It's sort of teasing us like it's going to come down. But generally, the bars here, the moving averages, the kind of going up, kind of pointing towards a 2 o'clock. If this were a giant clock, it'd be pointing up this way. And when that happens, we know we are in a trend, this trend being going up. And if we'd bought down here somewhere and ended up selling up here, we'd be up. How much? Well, let's see. If I go down to this bottom area here, this says, let me use a rectangle. Oop, not that part either. This right here, this says about $3,600, and then up here about $4,100. We'd be up about $500. Not bad. So as we continue, you notice the trend continues, and what happens is eventually people get excited. People start getting a great trend, and here in April 1st, if you remember that day, what a day it was. We had a huge up candle. And up and up and up and up and up and up. The trend just continued. Again, it's out of the water. Look at the volume here. The volume jumped way up and out, which is super cool. And then from here, it just kind of continued. Now, if you're an advanced trader, you know what to do when the price comes back to the 7MA. That's this one here. We talk about it in the DCG group a lot. There's a lot. I'm giving you kind of the simple breakdown, but how powerful this can be. Now, watch this. I did a bunch of research on if you were to go in and trade as price crossed the 7MA on a positive uptrend, and you went out as price crossed down below this green one, which is the 20 EMA, well, after a couple of years, you would be way up in Bitcoin and way up in fiat currency, dollar bills, if you're an American. Notice that as this continues up, you might have gone out, maybe you lost a little Bitcoin here, but you would have gotten back in here at the 7MA and continued up. But maybe tricked you there, maybe tricked you here. But notice that as soon as it just keeps going, the volume gets more and more, everybody gets excited, it dips down, maybe lose a little bit here, but get back in, lose a little bit here, but get back in to right about here. Now notice what happens. Now the 7MA dips below. Now we are kind of in this middling area, or maybe we'd have stayed out. But then it crosses back above the 20, that green, and continues up more and more and more. And again, we'd probably come out somewhere here. Now the trend is back in this sideways kind of thing where they're not all, blue on top and red on the bottom. Notice now the green is dipping down. So we would have gotten out again somewhere here. And this dip coming down, well, maybe it fools us again for a little bit, but then when maybe we lost a little money, but again, we're staying out, and the more we stay out, the more Bitcoin we accumulate until where we're at here today in mid-September, where we're not totally sure where it is, but it's this middling. One of the great things about the Alligator strategy too is that when it gets really compressed like this, it acts like a spring. Now, you never know which way it's going to spring, but you know that real soon we're going to see some strong volume shoving the price one way or another. Now, some of you are like, well, why do you call it the alligator? Well, this area here, this would be, kind of the alligator sleeping, kind of like nothing much happening, kind of asleep. But as it starts coming up, and as we see price rise, you see the alligator's kind of mouth kind of opens up, and it comes out of the water in terms of volume. This is coming out of the water here, And now we see the jaws and the teeth, et cetera. Just imagine, just have a little imagination. This is coming up and out. And the same thing happens in reverse. If you're going down, then it kind of opens down underneath, but we still have the volume coming out of the water and this mouth opening up. And you'll notice that the mouth starts closing when price starts retreating. Here's another great example of it where it's kind of going up in a trend. Yay, we like that as long as you're in the market. And then it just starts ramping up. The teeth and the mouth come out. And then, of course, all the volume here, actually, we'll just circle it like this. All of this is out of the water, lots of trades happening. So if you'd have done this kind of, volume and trend following, you'd be way up in both fiat currency and in Bitcoin. Now, you can do this with Ethereum, Litecoin. You can do it with any of the coins because what matters most is the volume. Now, you're like, well, what about this trend? Isn't this what we're watching? Yeah. And of course it is. We want to go in when it goes above the 7MA as long as it's trending up and go out when it comes below. This is a very, very simplistic way of looking at it. But being able to know that volume is what's driving all of this is a critical component in any chart and any kind of oscillator or whatever it is, knowing that, hey, it might be crossing, but without the accompanying volume, you may not have the kind of move that you're expecting. So being able to use this alligator, seeing when things are going out of the water, seeing when things are being driven down, and what the trend is everything. If you were able to, go short, for those of you who are in one of those, brokerages that allow you to do that, then you can actually trade while it's going down too and double up. So that's pretty good. So this is the alligator strategy as we do it in the DCG and Jamar James developed, and lots more to come. So this is pretty cool. A pretty great variant on the old alligator strategy. And you don't have to just use it in crypto. You can use it in Forex. I use it for trading the SPY and options and equities, all kinds of things. And if you want to learn more about it, Jamar and the DCG group go into it in depth and even coach you through making your own trades when you're ready. So how do you become a member of the DCG and hang out with Jamar? Well, just click on the link below. Pretty simple. Jamar will get in touch with you directly and hook you up at whatever level you would like and whatever your risk and investment level is. And it's pretty awesome. And there's a great community of folks there that I've actually just become friends with and consider really family. It's a family-oriented investment group. Specifically dedicated to crypto, but also they do equities and options and those kinds of things. So hopefully you'll join me and connect there. Until then, we'll see you in the studio.